Hello everyone, this is a special video, and I know I say that about every single video, but there is an action item that I do have for you all. As you could probably tell from this title, it doesn't affect me, but it does affect a neighbor of mine. Addison and I have actually been taking care of this cat that is in our same building, and he actually, long story short, have my neighbor's cat in my apartment. And we are trying to find him a home, and this actually was the inspiration of this video because we are kind of desperate now. We're trying to figure out where we can, what we can do. So this video hopefully can help you, just to kind of help with the visibility. I'm gonna just tell you the story here. So unfortunately, our neighbor has dementia, and for a few years, maybe even months, I don't know actually, but I don't live on her floor. The hallways start to smell, or that there were issues going on from the neighbors that were like, hey, I don't think this place is really kept up too well. And at that time, they didn't have no clue what to do because we live in a condo, so no one really has the jurisdiction to actually go into her own home. Maybe just a super for obvious reasons. But when what ended up happening was that in January, so it's April already, so you can already tell, and it's actually by the time this video comes out, May 1st, that there's going to be about 3 months or so that has already happened. But she fell down, broke her hip, went to the hospital, is getting rehabilitation. The niece actually at that time was like, hey, we have this cat in this apartment, we don't know what to do. We had a friend come over who didn't really do so well with animals, so we're just going to look for a cat sitter. We heard that you're the cat sitter in the building, so we reached out to you. So at that time, we've been going to her apartment every single day. And unfortunately, the environment that this cat was in was not really the most ideal. There was no litter. If you're watching and you don't know anything about cats, basically the bathroom situation for this cat was non-existent. It was just paper towels in the litter box, which means no litter to contain the odor and the smell, and in general the issues like the bacteria is breeding in the litter box. And no one actually cleaned the litter box ever. No one still cleans it. They just are still, we are just scooping it because we don't have the resources to just actually wash the litter box entirely. But we have clumping litter specifically for him. That's the other thing, is like, this cat hasn't been going to the vet, or this cat was not well taken care of. So we found out that she is actually a he, and our neighbor has had this cat for years, but didn't realize she's actually a neutered male. We don't know the story. We've actually never met this neighbor before. We only found out because our doorman shared information to us, shared information to the niece to us. But the whole reason why we're doing these drop-ins is because the niece actually lives in New Jersey with a boyfriend that's allergic and has a dog. So she's been trying to get us to do drop-ins, and they're not positive about what's happening to the aunt. At the end of the day, the aunt did have to go to a nursing home. So because of that, they're now trying to find him a home, find Furley a home. So let me show you this cat, because this cat is very sweet. And if you are in New York City and you're looking for a black cat, I'll give you a little more information. Hello, how are you doing? A little of a anxious kitty. I'm sorry. We've been giving him pills, so he's been very anxious from that. So in general, this is we don't even know the age, because this neighbor has dementia. We don't know much about this cat in general. So when it comes to age, we think 8 to 10 years old. He is toothless. He has hyperthyroidism, which we only found out when we got to the vet, because we needed to figure out what we're dealing here with to be able to even give him to a shelter or find him a home. It's just not fair if we give him to someone and they don't know exactly what they're dealing with. So at this point, the niece has actually been using the aunt's retirement fund, and this whole conversation came up. And honestly, this is mostly my thing that I thought about. The niece just kept on asking me, like, what would you do in this situation? Like, I wouldn't be in this situation because I have thought about this in the beginning. I know things could be a little bit different if she lived with another person, if she didn't have dementia, but in general, it's always good to have a lot prepared, because she never went to the vet. So there was no record for him. So unless she got him when she had dementia, there's a lot of things that she could have done. And I'm going to go over here. I'm going to put more information about Furley in the description of this video. If you are interested, or if you know anyone that in New York City that is interested, or if you know anyone that might want to foster him, because we're actually going to go on vacation for 3 weeks in Asia, which is why we're kind of down to the wire here, in middle of May. So we have only 2 more weeks left. I'll give you all the information in the description as well as in the comment. But this video specifically is how to make sure you are financially prepared, how to make sure you are finance proof with your pet. And most of this is going to be towards cats, but you can kind of make the adjustment to dogs, because honestly, the approach is still the same. Make sure you're actually financially stable enough to even get a pet in the first place. I think this is where a lot of people struggle. And I know some people are accidentally a pet parent. If, for example, a cat like walked into your porch, or a cat just never stopped leaving your home, or just like walked into your home, that kind of thing, and just calls you and you're like, well, I'd rather give a home than not a home at all. That is fine. But you should be aware financially as well, because, and there is a section that I have here as well, but when you are financially stable is the best time to have a pet, to be responsible, because a lot of shelters nowadays, they make sure that you are actually stable enough lifestyle and financially to be able to prepare and to take care of this cat or dog. Same thing, but in general, that's what I would recommend. And to be able to know if you're financially stable, not living paycheck to paycheck, you have a healthy emergency fund for yourself as well as your pet, which is actually the second one that I have here, is like, make sure you have enough savings for your pet plus you. So nowadays, like with the economy, it's a little bit crazy right now, but you want to make sure you're prepared as well. When you have an emergency savings, this is really for a lot of different things, not necessarily just medical reasons. Like, for example, you have to step away and you need to find a cat sitter or dog sitter, or if you like are at work too late and you need a dog walker, having money like that set aside is okay as well. You don't want to have your dog just like be stuck in the crate all day, or cat. In this case, like maybe the cat goes out without food, but there's a lot of things that you need to think about, like vet visits. Like if you got a kitten, you know you're going to need to get all those shots. You need to know you need to get the spay or neutered. Unless you go to a shelter, that's a different story, because mostly they have all those shots already. If they're an indoor cat, you do or do not actually need to do the vaccines. You should definitely talk to your veterinarian about that. But there's debates about, do you even need vaccines if you stay home all the time? But I would recommend getting vaccines anyways if you have a dog that goes in and out. So there's many different reasons why you should or should not to get vaccines, but you should still have a emergency fund for medical reasons, for emergencies, like literally, as I just said, like a pet sitter or a dog walker of any kind, or anything that pops up, like maybe, for example, your crate just broke. Now you don't have a crate. You, of course, did not expect to have your crate broken, so you need to have money set aside for that. But what if you need to get it to, like, get your cat to the groomer, or get your cat to the vet, or anything like that? It's not like a dog where you just walk them over, but you do need to have a crate. So things like that, have an actual emergency fund. Actually doing the research of how much things cost. I think this is where it got a little bit interesting for me, because as a first-time pet owner, first-time cat owner, I didn't really know what are the actual costs. What I Googled was like, what are the costs? How much money do I have in the bank? Okay, good. But there are definitely things that you should keep in mind of, like, for example, how much is a checkup? And you want to check in your specific geographic location. New York City is expensive, so I have to look up, like, how much does a spay or neuter procedure cost in New York City? And specifically, if you can even find more granular, your zip code even, because, of course, being New York City is going to be a lot more expensive than if you were in upstate New York. So it's like things like that actually would affect the cost, and you want to be prepared for it, because sometimes they are actually time sensitive too. Like if you were to get a shot and you need to come 1 month later, you need to make sure you come 1 month later, and you need to make sure you have money. The good thing is you could use a credit card and then pay it off later, so you have a little bit of time, but you should always pay off your credit card in full. But medical debt is one of the biggest debt out there. Same thing for a pet. Like if I had a cat that had cancer and had to go through all of that situation, then I need to make sure I have the money for that. And I would like to approach it as like good, better, and best. So you should never settle for fair. You should never settle for poor. If you can't take care of this cat, maybe this cat found you or this cat came to you. Maybe it's time for you to give this cat to the shelter. It's better for the cat. But if you can't, it's better if you just, in my opinion, acknowledge that and give away your cat, or go to the shelter and drop off that cat if you are financially unable to do that. When you do these item level calculations and you notice like, okay, I'm already struggling, and this is like already goes in with the first one, but if you're already financially struggling by yourself, you're going to struggle even more with a cat. And I know a lot of people are going to be like, oh, but with a cat, with your mental and emotional health, that might be the case, but you still want to make sure that this cat has the life that they deserve. Okay, so and you might be thinking like, well, this is still better than being on the street, but at the end of the day, you really have to make the decision, can you afford this to give the best life that a cat should have? And again, this is very similar to conversation. If you want to have a child or not, same conversation you should be having. This goes in with a good, better, and best diet. So, of course, feeding your cat is number one priority. Like, you know, the cat literally needs to eat to live. But you should also kind of pay attention about the food that you're given. I wouldn't just blindly give the food that you see at the pet store. I would do a little bit more research. So if you are giving something like human scraps, I don't think you should have a cat. A cat does supposed to have like high protein diet, and it's supposed to have cat food. And I would also make sure that if you have watched my videos over here about me trying all these cat foods with my pets, specifically with my cats, of course, then this is very important, because I was trying to experiment to see what would work for us, and financially, health as well, and if they even like it in the first place. That was a big financial taking, just being able to purchase like over 90 wet foods, but I was lucky enough that I can get can by can. Some of them I wasn't lucky enough, I had to buy in a set to be able to try in the first place, but I thought it was worth it because I ended up donating them anyways. So when it came to the food, there's good, which means that like they get their balanced nutritional diet, but they also get enough moisture. So ideally they do not have just dry food. Ideally they don't even have any dry food in general. So if you can make it work by just incorporating a little bit of wet food, or even just putting water in their dry food, that's good. Just having that bare minimum is good. Better is if you can get even better than that, like maybe just all wet food, or having really good wet food to supplement like a snack of dry food, which is what I do, because our cats love dry food. So I keep that as like one meal a day, but then the rest is like supplemented by wet food. I've actually have been doing wet food with like 3 supplements, and I put in broth, and I put in a crushing of freeze-dried treats from Open Farm. So there's a lot of things going on in there. So that would, for me, is considered better. Best is like wet food only, but I always want to make sure that my cats are eating, and they don't always finish the wet food, and it does spoil a little bit, especially for Dawn. She is a grazer, so she doesn't always finish her food, and I don't want her to not eat all of it, especially because it's not fresh anymore. And in general, like, that's good, better, and best. If you understand that and you know that you can at least commit to good, try to do that, or try your best. There's always so many different things you can do. Like, for example, I can't really afford time-wise and money-wise to actually do best, because I have 3 cats and I still have my other things that I have to do as well on top of 3 cats, so I can't really give wet food to 3 cats in a row. And I want to give them the best food, so I actually still give them the best dry food I could possibly do, and I also do wet food plus broth, so I'm still adding so much moisture, and there's like water fountains everywhere, so they're literally living a better life than me, to be honest. Healthier life than me. So doing the better is probably, if you want to do better and you can't afford doing wet food, don't just give up. I would just try to supplement it with like maybe adding some water, or having a water fountain, or supplementing with some treats that are raw or like really high quality. So think about it that way. I think financially, a lot of people just they're not really that knowledgeable at cat food, and a lot of people I spoke to are not that knowledgeable. They just like, well, it looks good, it was good price, it is well rated, so I'm gonna get it. But you should really pay attention, because these could actually, and this, I'm gonna lead to the next one here, but these could actually lead to health problems if you have bad diet. And unfortunately, my neighbor's cat had a very bad diet. Like, when I did research about cat food and what the worst cat food there is, he had worse cat food, wet and dry. At least he has wet food, okay? There's that. But he had the worst cat food possible on the market. And I felt so bad for him because it is very possible that his hyperthyroidism, his kidney disease were all started because of the food. He's been on them for years. There's maybe even some times when he didn't even eat the food, or he was like really malnourished because I don't know how he was being treated. He may have even gotten like kidney disease just because there was no litter box in the first place and he was like forcing to pee or poop or anything like that. So having a clean litter box right now is already a huge upgrade than what it was before. So in general, that's what I would say is like actually making sure it's good food, and for good reason, because this will prevent a lot of poor health decisions and issues that you'll have in the future. And you won't have to deal with this because now the medication is expensive, the procedures are expensive. Thankfully, I'm not the one paying. It's actually the niece that's paying out of her aunt's retirement fund. But this is where like having a nice fund, going to the vet frequently, because this could have been addressed way earlier, actually investing in the food. And we actually live in a pretty nice building, so I don't understand how she can afford to live in this building but not be able to take care the bare minimum of this cat. Didn't even have litter. So there's so many solutions that you could do. Like you could probably have a cat sitter that comes in just to clean the litter box, or you could get an automatic litter box. You could have someone that helps you out, but it didn't look like she had those resources in general or even knew what to do. But this leads to my fourth bullet, which is consider pet insurance. So I actually have pet insurance. I have been considering I was always stuck between, do I really want to do pet insurance or do I not want to do pet insurance and just save money? So those are the two options. Like if you don't want to do pet insurance, you should have healthy savings that are going into like a separate fund that doesn't really touch your own fund. So, I mean, you can have it in one giant fund, but just make sure you set money aside, because at one point those medical bills are going to add up. And when I did like Sora and Charlotte's dental treatment, it was like almost $2,000 each. So that is a lot of money for just a cat, if you think about it that way. But think about it this way. It would have been better if I just brushed their teeth a lot more frequently. I do brush their teeth a lot more frequently now, don't get me wrong here, but some cats just need a little bit more love because of genetic dispositions, which is also the other thing is like about the second bullet is like do your research on how much a cat costs. Like depending on their genetics, depending on their breed, you may actually get specific predispositions that will cost money in the future. So just be careful about that. And pet insurance actually know about that, because when you put in a specific breed, they might actually have a higher premium in the first place because they know that those particular genes have caused like specific issues that will need to be covered by health insurance and pet insurance in this case. So that's what I would say is like consider pet insurance, because it has saved me a lot personally. For me, I have all three of my cats covered, and I have only two of them, so Charlotte and Sora, covered by preventative care. So if I needed to go there at any point for preventative reasons, Sora because he's a problem child and he has dental issues, he's just like born not blessed, and Charlotte because she's older. So I didn't want to worry about that, so I have invested in that. Dawn is like literally perfect, so I don't have preventative care, but I still have pet insurance for her. So in general, I have pet insurance for them, but you don't need to have pet insurance. You could just have money set aside, so each time there's an emergency, you already have that money and it doesn't dip into your own savings. So think about it this way, is like having money set aside is essentially like having a premium that you're putting in there, and you're kind of hedging your bets that like what you have in your savings is enough to cover what you need. In my case, what I've actually paid premium wise in pet insurance has not even covered close to what I had to pay for my dental cleaning. So almost about like $3,000-$4,000 is more than actually the amount of money I paid in premiums in the past 3 years. So already, if I were to do more dental cleanings, all that, like I actually already covered more, and I still have that peace of mind that like when I bring them to the vet, I'm not losing that much money. Like I have a deductible and everything, and then once I hit that deductible, and I have the lowest deductible possible, highest percentage payout, 90%, with $250 deductible, which is so easy in New York City. But getting that point, like it's actually very easy to do. So moving forward, this is the last one, which you can probably tell from earlier, but like, know when to give your cat away. And I'm not talking about specifically in the beginning when like a cat has chosen you and you're like, oh, well, I want to keep this cat because this cat chose me. That, I mean, again, as well, you do want to make sure that, can you afford to take care of this cat, and can you take care of this cat, period, in general, like regardless of financial reasons. If you cannot, maybe it's time to give away the cat. For the sake of the cat, and then you should also just save that money and take care of yourself, okay? You can always get another cat. You can always even see if you can get that same cat back. I doubt it, but you can always try. But the reason why I say this is because I really don't think the cat that I have with me, Furley, really had the life that he deserved. I think he really should have had a better life for the past few years. Like, the fact that the owner didn't even know that he was a boy. What? That just mind boggles me, that you don't even know the sex of your own cat. So that either means that she had a lack of attention, or barely cared to pay attention, or even went to the vet in the first place when she got the cat. Or number two, she had dementia in the first place when she got the cat, and she shouldn't have been able to get a cat in the first place. If she went to a shelter, then the shelter actually probably would not have let her have the cat. I'm really curious about that, though, because maybe they probably couldn't see through their dementia. I'm not sure. The other thing is, like, if she was just irresponsibly given, or she got a cat from someone, then that person also needs to make sure that, like, hey, maybe you should go to a shelter and not go give to some irresponsible person. So I unfortunately cannot have this cat because I already have 3 cats and I'm being responsible. I know that I can't afford to have a 4th cat, and Addison would kill me. So I don't think I can do that. So I'm asking you all, if you are in the New York City area, or you're local and like close enough to the New York City area, and you are interested in receiving a black cat, a male cat. So a little short synopsis here. A 8 to 10 year old, we believe, male cat, neutered, very gentle, very anxious though, so you have to get his trust. I've gotten his trust, but then every time we do the pill shooter with the pill, he's like a little bit like now triggered when he sees me, but he's very gentle, he's very cute. He does have hyperthyroidism, which we're treating with methimazole, like a pink pill essentially. So that one's twice a day, within 12-hour range or so. We have been doing it in the food. He ate the food, but then he lost appetite, so now we have to do the pill shooter, and we noticed that he has a better appetite when we don't put the pill in the food, so that kind of makes sense. So now we're actually having the food open. He does have kidney disease, as we can tell when we did the blood test, and after the hyperthyroidism was being treated by the pill, so he does eventually need to have kidney care food. We are transitioning. He actually could be transitioned to it, but we have so much leftover food that we're still going to mix it in, so we can still use it at least. And the food itself, if you're going to do it, kidney care is going to have to be it. So, you know, it's going to cost a pretty penny. It's not going to be that expensive compared to like raw food or smalls, or a lot of the expensive brands that I mentioned, but it is going to be a decent price because it is going to be a specialized prescriptive diet from the vet. The pills, again, as well, I don't actually know the cost of that. That's really going to be on the niece that paid, but I will say that those are the medical issues. You may have to go to the vet as well. We have been giving him probiotics. We have been giving him wet food only, so no dry food. So you need to make sure that you're actually able to take care of him wet food, just because he was known to be dehydrated, so we're trying to make sure that he actually gets the moisture that he needs. He has water, litter box, of course. We currently have him in a cage because he's very anxious, and we thought that if we need to give him a pill, it's very hard to get him to get the pill or to take him to the vet, because we have to go to the vet pretty frequently to make sure that we know what is going on with him. We've only found out once we treated the hyperthyroidism with the methimazole that we actually have kidney disease, and now we can treat that as well. But he's not doing too bad. So yeah. If you are interested in a black cat, which unfortunately senior black cats that have health issues are actually struggling to get adopted. They are like one of the most unadopted cats in the shelter. So if you're interested, please let me know down below in the comments, or you can message me on Instagram as well. My Instagram's right over here. My Instagram's right over here. You can get all that information, message me and everything. I live in Brooklyn, but We are going on vacation on May 13th, so moving forward, the niece is going to try to find a place for him temporarily. Like, we think that maybe the neighbor's friend could probably take care of him, but if you are interested, then let me know, because he really deserves a home. He really is a very sweet boy. He just needs a very patient home, one that doesn't have cats, actually, because he didn't really do so well with our cats. He just kind of felt on guard. He did okay, actually, but I think he deserves to be by himself, and I think he deserves to be in a household that can give him all the human love he could possibly get, but very patient, because he is a very anxious kitty. But yeah, let me know down below in the comments. Hopefully this will never happen to you all, but I wanted to make this video just in case that, since I do cover personal finance, I do cover cats, I'm going to marry the two and let you all know, like, I want you all to really think about it, financially proof your pet situation, or just be ready in the future, because I would hate for this situation to happen to anyone. I already have measures in place if anything were to happen like this. Like, honestly, this was like I'm in the beginning of my cat journey-ish. Like, it's only been 5-6 years, but I'm also young too. I don't think I will get dementia in the next 10 plus years or so. So it's still something to worry about and think about before you even get a cat in the first place. All right, see you next time.